Hey guys, welcome back to the Pop channel. What we have for you today is we're gonna have the Jiren, the Justice Squad deck profile. I've been playing with this deck profile for quite some time. I'm usually not comfortable in showing something which I kind of have a theory on. I usually have a theory on, then I start to play testing, and this has been play test since Tournament of Power. And the reason why I've not shown it during the Tournament of Power expansion set, it's because I find that it is very conditional when it comes to winning, right? It's very conditional. That's a problem because you need to set up the whole things on the board. The problem with that is that especially with the meta at that point of time where Veggies was running rampant with Kale, Sugash Kale, and the people who try to counteract that by playing Marseillan, keeping things on the board was really difficult. But when it works, the payoff is good, but at a point of time it was really difficult. So when the new set 4 came out, there was 2 builds which is really good for the Justice Squad. Number one is the Ox King. Maybe I'll put it up here. If not, maybe I was just lazy. I'm just gonna try to put it up here. Maybe I will forget, but let's see. So what the Ox King does is that just for 1 energy, it's a yellow card for 1 energy. It gives everything that is 3 or less. All yellow cards, they are 3 or less barrier, except for himself. But if you have 2 of them, you could play them side by side and they go give each other barrier because they are 1 each. The good part about that card is that it keeps everything that you have on the board, and which is important for you to set up your combo, your end game finisher, the quadruple strike Jiren that punch them. But the problem with that is that Jiren does not really helps with card drawing. He does not draw a lot of cards, maximum just 1 card per turn. So it gets very difficult when you want to get to the end game, which is try to get 2 Ox King in your hand, because once you play 1, the opponent will try to pop it. So you need 2 in your hands before you play it. Before you have the 2 in your hands, you don't want to keep your creatures on board. So let's see, when are you going to draw that 2? That is a problem. And if you don't draw that 2, it's going to be very difficult for you to end the game. So we're going with the other build, which is something that I use all the time, and with this additional of 1 card the whole set, I think that's the better way to play this deck. So here we go. Let's go straight into the deck profile. Let me minimize my head. Okay, so if you don't know the leader as of yet, on his unawakened side, when you swing at a leader, you draw a card, and when you have 4 or less, switch both of your energies to active mode and flip the card over. On his awakened side, when this card attacks, draw a card, and then when at the end of your turn, to choose 2 of your Universe 11 and switch them to active mode. When he was revealed, everybody thinks that he is very lackluster. Yes, definitely, because he has a lot of restriction when it comes to him. He has to be played with Universe 11, and but if you try to play with him in the Universe 11 deck, he is a pretty good leader because he helps by switching things to the active mode. He helps to keep your creatures on board. Yep. So let's talk about the deck itself. We go straight to your end game option. This is your end game option. So he is Absolute Justice Jiren, quadruple striker, and his permanent is this: reduce the energy cost of this card in your hands by 1 for each Universe 11 in your battle area. That means this, you must pay the specified cost even if exit the reduced energy cost. So minimum, this guy, it's a 5-drop. So for 5-drop, what do you get? When you play this card, choose all of your opponent's battle card and energy in rest mode and place them in the drop area. Pretty good. But in order to bring him out at 5, which is what you want to do, you need your creatures on the board. Minimum 5 of them. When you drop him at 5, you basically does a board clear, because your energy, your opponent's energy, whatever is tapped, it's finished. It's gone right then. So the payoff, it's really good, even though maybe your opponent might survive the round with 1 or 2 energy left untapped, or 0 energy is tapped. He didn't die. For some reason, I don't know how someone would survive a quadruple striker without without some energy, maybe he has a lot of super combos in his hands, you are actually in a very good shape because of the way that you have in your board, and yep, you will not be threatened anyway. The second card, the second endgame option comes with set 4, which kind of makes the whole thing much easier to play, which is deflect. So if you're playing against the yellow player, and you might want to choose this option instead. So here's a quadruple striker permanent. When there are 9 or more universe 11 in your drop area, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hands by 6. So permanent during battle, when this card attacks, your opponent may not activate counter or blocker. So if your opponent has negate, your opponent has blocker, your opponent has cold bloodlust, this is the option to go. So how I play out is this. I have cards that helps you to go to the end game, because no matter what, you still need that 5 to 6 energy minimum just to play that game. So there are a lot of cards, there are utility cards that helps you to go to the end game, and there are cards for you to put while you try to build your board. And we are not building boards with all these huge creatures. We are building boards with small little ones, small little ones, small little ones. Clear boards. If we need to clear boards, we clear the board, and then we finish the game by dropping the end game. So if your opponent tries to take out your mini creatures on the board, this is the option to go. But if your opponent chooses or is unable to take out the creatures on the board, this is the end game option. So depending on your matchup, you choose which card to play as energy and which route to go. Yep. So let's talk about the utility cards that helps us to go to the end game. Number 1, we play 4 copies of Crushable. When this card, the battle card played in the rest mode. This card is very important, and I will show you why later. And Cocotte Zone, Cocotte, counter attack. This is your negate, one of the best negate in the game. I'm gonna say it right now, it's better than Nimbus. The reason why, it's because it negates the attack, and your leader, if your leader is universe 11, choose one of your opponent's battle card and switch it to rest mode. Basically it's a 2 negate in one turn. So especially when people are playing chain attack something, you could negate one and tap one of their creatures back off. Or if they play something, they swing with their leader, negate the leader, and tap one of their battle cards. Especially for those people who plays Marseille and things like that. Just to clear your board, you could negate one of the attacks and tap their things with Overwhelm, because it's gone right there. The next thing that we're going to play is we play 4 copies of Master Roshi, negates the attack, play this card. So he negates the attack for just 1 yellow energy, and at the same time you get to play this card. So he is a good 5k combo, just to maybe protect your leader a little bit more. We play 4 copies of the hero combination Tappa, so he has 4. We have 4 of them. This is the Searcher, so look at the top 3 and pick 1 universe 11 and put it into your hands. One of the best, if not the best blocker in the game. He is the little guy, and if another universe 11 is in your battle area, this card cannot be KO'd in battle once per turn. So how do you do this? So when someone swings, you use this card to negate, and if there's another universe 11 in your battle area, this card stays on the board. So your opponent has to commit another resource, another card in his hands, another swing, just to take this guy out from your battle area. So how do I usually play this guy? It's I keep 2 in my hands. That's when I play it, because you can play 2 of them. When one of your opponents swings at this card, you block. They try to commit another resource to swing at this card again, you use the other one to block it, and then your opponent has to go for the 3rd swing just to ensure that they take him out. And with this 4 blockers, 8 negates, essentially this is another 4 more, so we are having 12 negates and 4 crushable, which itself, it's a negate, because anything that comes out is a triple strike. You just tap it. All those cards that says when it attacks, go tap it. it really helps you to bring it to the end game, especially if the meta right now is so aggressive. This is a deck that I feel very comfortable just sitting there and just to play with the players, and let's see how it goes, right? So the 4 super combos, I think that's very easy, straightforward, and this is also a really good card because it helps you to self-awaken, which in this meta you don't really need to, but if your opponent tries to stall you, this is one of the things that you can do. Choose one card in your life and add it to your hand, and if another Universe 11 is in play, so you could just take a card even though there's no Universe 11, but just for the effect to go through, you need another Universe 11. It's in play in your battle area. Choose one of your opponent's battle card with 4 or less and switch it to rest mode. So if they have cards that you really need to take out, you could play him, switch one, and keep it in rest mode so that you can swing at it. But usually I seldom swing with my cards. The reason why is because one of the best cards in your arsenal for 3 energy when you play this card, if your leader is Universe 11, you may drop 1 yellow card from your hands to drop area, so you discard pitch 1 card. If you do so, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle card in rest mode and KO them. This guy helps you to keep everything in, helps to keep your opponent's card in rest mode, and you could go with this guy. Just when you play him in the next round, you KO them just to remove them out. So the whole idea is not to hit your opponent. Let Jiren does the hitting, keep your opponent at 5, and once he reaches at 5, that's when you want to swing for 1 swing and keep him at 4, and then go with it with your 2 endgame option, and just to pressure him, because this he has to combo out of it, and this most of his energy is gone. It's just a grindy game. It's just to grind your opponent to death. Yep. So Swift Warrior dice pull. So what he does is it's a really good card because he is basically the combo play this card. At the end of your battle, after you combo with this card, if your leader is Universe 11, play this card in rest mode. Yep. And all ally justice. This is what you want to do when you are nearly awakened, because with this topo, when you play this card, if your leader is Universe 11, look up to 10 cards from the top of the deck with energy 3 or less and play them in rest mode, then shuffle, and you go like, oh, your opponent might take out your deck. It helps you to build your board, because from maybe just 2 you could just play topo, and then your board gets 5 immediately, just like that. And when your leader is awakened, if you are able to awaken your leader, you could switch the 2 rest mode card back up to active mode, so you have basically essentially a good board. And we're going to play another 4 blockers. So this guy, if there are 4 more Universe 11 in the drop area, reduce the cost of this by 2. So he is not, you cannot play this guy and get him because it's not in your deck, but it reduces the cost by 2. That means from your hand, this is something that you want in your hands, that you can play it at the end of turn, switch this card to active mode. So he is a 20k blocker, which is going to be very annoying for your opponent. You could use this, swing, if their leader swings, you could use this to block, then they try to use another battle card to take him out, you could use this to block, use this to block. If they play another battle card, crush a board, negate it. So this is how you want to play. It's very annoying for your opponent, because every time they don't take out a creature from your battle area, they know that they have to deal with this guy, and they have to commit energy just to bring out more creatures on the board to deal with you and your battle area. The problem is that the more energy that they use, if they don't finish you, Absolute Justice Jiren will come out and destroy all the energies that they use in the next turn. So if they manage to clear your board, go for this guy and finish them, because they are taking so much time just to clear your board, clear your board, clear your board, clear your board. They forgot that your leader, it's always at 5 or 4 and never less. So this is a very annoying deck to play with. It's very grindy, so if you're a very control person, you love to control the game, you know what to crusher, when to negate, when to declare your attack, how to slowly build your board, you're gonna really have fun with this deck. I am loving this deck a lot and I hope you like it. Give it a try. If you have an Ox King build that is better, please let me know, but in the end I like this for the flexibility that it gives. I always try to build my board and try to go on to the end game, but if that does not happen, if my opponent is very good at clearing the board, he leaves my leader at high life because he committed resources to clearing my board, and then he has to deal with this guy later. Alright, so here's the deck profile and I hope you like it. Stay tuned for the next one. So stay happy. Ciao, ciao. Bye. Hello. Okay, good.